All right, and we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 15 of Comic Convos. Tonight's guest, we've got Comix4Cheap back on. He was on for my very first episode, so I'm very happy to have him back. Everybody in the chat right now, everybody that's tuning in, welcome, Comix4Cheap.
Sorry. I was totally unprepared.
What's going
What's
on,
going
homie?
on, man? How you doing?
Good, man. How you been? Doing big things for your Instagram. You're just overall killing it.
Yeah, man. I'm very fortunate, very blessed to have the platform that I have, and I'm just taking it week by week, day by day, and it's been great. Has been a while since I've been on the YouTube, and both things have changed for both of us. So I'm
Things
very
really
excited.
have. You
Yeah, man.
know, like I said before, he was on the very first episode. If you're not already following him, he's got his Instagram, he's got YouTube. Everything is down low in the description. Make sure you go check him out. He does he does pressing videos, he does speculation stuff, and just, he stays on top of the market. So make sure,
I try
tune
to
in for
anyway.
him. You do a really good job with this stuff, man. You got
Yeah,
a good
thanks, man.
eye for it all.
Appreciate it. Mainly, like, even if I'm specking on something, I don't even mind paying full price at the time that I'm like speculating on it, and then just pay it off with dollar books down the line so that I have it before it really does blow up, and then people are scrambling for it. So
It's always a good thing. And what's
yeah,
going on, Fire Guy Ryan? I hope you
what
are
up,
doing well
fire guy
tonight.
Ryan?
But man, since you've been on, you weren't even full time like comics and everything last time you were on. You were still in the process of
Yeah,
transitioning to it. I remember we were
yes.
talking about it.
Mhm.
You're saying what you're planning on doing, how you want to make it happen. And it from then, I mean, you really stepped it up. You're doing still Instagram sales, but
Yeah,
not
man.
only just that, but you're doing real con sales now too. You're getting set up at the cons. That is fantastic.
Yeah, it is very humbling the fact that I went from working this job that I hated in retail and running the page that I was running for about 3 years before they screwed me over one last time, and I was like, I'm out. I'm gonna try to do this full time. I don't know if it's gonna work. Might have to get a job by the end of the year or whatever, but I'm giving it my best shot. And yeah, no, I'm very fortunate that not only did the page really take off, the YouTube kind of took off. I just hit 1,000 subscribers like
I was
last
going
week
to
or something.
congratulate you on that
Thank
too.
you, thank you. And yeah, now I'm applying to and setting up at actual Comic Cons. Some of them they're just kind of getting bigger and bigger. So I've done 2 so far. I've got 1 upcoming this weekend, and that in itself is just a great experience. It's so much fun. I get to meet so many more people than if I were to just attend it and kind of walk around. So it's fantastic.
Dude, I can only imagine because I mean, like you just got done explaining, you weren't sure where you were going to go, you weren't sure if it was going to work. I'm sure COVID may have helped that out a little bit,
Yeah.
allowing you to focus more on
Right.
your actual sales. But man, like seriously, it's really taken off now. Instead of just doing it every few days, I see you posting stuff every single day, all day about just some, little claim sales here and there. You're still doing your auctions.
Hmm.
I know you tried Whatnot out here and there. I think you did a couple sales on there, but
I've done 3. I'm not the biggest fan of the platform as a seller, but that's just my personal opinions and just kind of how it play. Like, I use the app. I know a lot of people are very successful with it, and that's awesome. But for me, it just isn't as useful as Instagram is for me.
you've also established yourself pretty well on Instagram too, as
Right.
pretty much the sales guy. I mean, I'm telling you, if you guys in chat right now, you haven't checked him out on Instagram, go see his claim sales. It's almost as soon as he uploads it. He's got his 4 books, he's got A, B, C, and D, and swear to God, it like gets picked up immediately. Like claim A, claim ABC, like it's immediate.
It like, I don't know when the switch came where it like almost became a race for some of the followers, but I had to make a point of like not announcing times anymore, like what time I was going to do it, because then if something came up in my day and I wasn't able to do it at the time, I would get like 20 messages. Why aren't, like, at that time I'm like, doing a claim sale at 8 p.m. whatever. 8:01, I have 21 messages coming in like, where's the books, bro? Like, what's going on? I'm like, no, this can't happen no more. So now I just do it random, I like random times. I'll tell you kind of what day or the general hours that I might be posting. But yeah, no, but again, very fortunate that it's like that. And you're right, like, I'll post the thing, I'll start posting some pictures, some posts, and like immediately just my notification thing just goes.
It's wild. I've
Yeah.
seen it. I've been fortunate enough to catch some of yours. Like,
Hmm.
it's like just posted. All right, cool. Click on it, just just to see if there's any comments already. And it's like 1 second ago, claim AB. 2 seconds ago, claim ABCD. And then it's like they're coming in second after second, and it's like, oh, well, you missed
Yeah.
out by literally a second. That's awesome,
Yes.
dude.
Yeah. No, it's very amusing to watch. I do get people angry about it sometimes. They're like, I just give up. They're like trying to do. I'm like, there are times you'll get lucky, and there are times that you won't. But I think consistently pricing my books the way that I do also helps in the aspect that people do want to be first to get to stuff, because I will post $10 or $15 books for $5 just because I'm too lazy sometimes to even start a $10 claim section. I'll just be like, it's all $5. Or like the
Okay.
same with the dollar stuff I put up. I'm probably one of the few that still has a virtual dollar bin going on, basically. So
You really do.
yeah, so even books up to like $3 or $4 that I'll just put in the dollar bin. And then anything that doesn't sell is actually how I build my live show boxes now. So anything from like $1 to $5, sometimes some $10 stuff I'll slip in there. But if it doesn't sell on Instagram, it just all gets put into the dollar bins that I bring to shows that I set up at. So then when people are digging live at the shows, they're like, oh my gosh, this stuff is great because it's, all this good stuff that I just put in the dollar bin.
I was going to ask you about that too. Before we get into, moving on to cons.
Hmm.
So, one of the reasons I stopped selling on Instagram is, I don't know how the hell you do it. Just dealing with people, tracking everybody down like, "Hey, can you send this money? Can you send this? Send me your info now." I hated that. And especially telling someone, "Hey, you spent $10 with me. It's going to be 850 for shipping because of priority." Well, I only bought $10 worth of stuff. I'm not paying $8 for that. Well, I don't know what to tell you. That's what priority is. It's actually more money than $8. Kind of helping you out
Right.
now, and then
Yeah.
they just cancel anyway. I found that
So
annoying.
yes. I'm sure that is why you enjoy Whatnot, is that they have to pay when the auction, like book by book, right? When the auction ends, their card is tapped. So with Instagram, it is a little bit different. It is but luckily, again, I have been established for a while. I have, blocked out the people that are more difficult as far as paying, or the ones that claim and then, back out or whatever, or after a month of me chasing them down, I'm like, all right, this is enough. I can't do this no more. So people usually know the deal. I'm very lenient when it comes to pay. They have a full week before they even get a reminder. And then at that point, I'm like, all right, come on. Here's a reminder. And then another week will go by and I'll be like, this is your final reminder. So I am very lenient when it comes to that. But yeah, it does get annoying sometimes. I will tell you.
I I I'm like I said, I've dealt with it. It's extremely annoying. But
Yeah.
then, you said that's probably why I like Whatnot. That is honestly why I use it. You get paid immediately. Everything is just right then and there.
Hmm.
Even when the stream is done, you click on the stream and all their tracking info. It's very simple, it's very easy to use. Now, if I was someone who had a lot more books to move constantly, I think your route might be a little bit easier. I usually, once a week for me, once every 2 weeks, I get a
Sure.
short box, two short boxes, and just call it a day. But
Yeah, I'm moving more like 5, 6 long boxes a week.
yeah, that's
So it,
insane.
it is a little bit more quantity for sure.
So without getting into all the secrets and stuff, how do you acquire all that? Are you constantly checking out collections? Are you going out to shops, just digging through other bins?
Yeah, honestly, collections not so much. I do try to stay away from purchasing collections as a whole. I don't. There's a lot of competition in my area for vendors trying to buy collections. So
Really?
I let them take care of that, and I come in and like after they buy a collection, I've established some relationships with certain vendors that they're like, hey, just bought this, whatever 200 box collection. Do you want to come out to my house and kind of pick through it a little bit? We'll cut a good deal and you get first crack. So stuff like that really helps. Hitting up antique shops, comic shops, the constant like weekend to weekend, I'm going to conventions and buying in bulk from conventions. That all kind of helps build up my inventory as well. I don't like getting the filler, the needless stuff that I don't want in a collection. I've bought a couple collections before. But I'm very like snooty and picky when it comes to actually pulling the trigger on a collection. If I see a whole long box of Superman, I'm probably gonna say no, even if like the rest of it is pretty decent. I'm like, I don't want the Superman stuff though. It just stays there. I end up giving all of it away for free just to kind of like, and then they get it and they're like, well, I don't want Superman either. So it's just like this endless cycle of that. But yeah, I try to stay away from like actually buying collections. But I know it works out well for the dealers who do get them, because then they do get those certain key issues they could put up on their wall that technically they only got for, whatever, less than $1. So that's where they make their money back from. And then, I buy the smaller stuff from them as well. So it is like a almost like a symbiotic relationship there.
That's pretty cool to see it that way. And that's funny that you say, you try to stay away from collections, or, you don't buy them as often, because you see people all over Instagram, YouTube saying, bought a collection, just picked up this collection, let's see what's in it, or can't wait to check it out.
Yep.
It's like, man, like, I can only imagine how much crap is really in there. I mean, you might get a good deal on it.
Yeah, how much crap is in there. The way they took care of their collection, it always plays a factor. So a whole bunch of unbagged and boarded stuff just kind of floating. That's never, like then you have to pay for bags and boards. So you got to think that's like an added part of the cost of this collection. It's not only the price of the bags and boards, which has gone up immensely recently, but also the time of sitting there and bagging and boarding 20 long boxes of comic books is not fun. And I mean, I know I have nothing but time, but there are other things that I would rather be doing than packing and boarding 20 long boxes. So leaving that to the people who want to do that, the vendors that are for that, is fine with me.
I mean, that's assuming, like you said, you can even find the bags and boards.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I do have a hookup,
Solid.
so I'm good on that. But the guy, I have to wait for him to. He orders it by like the pallet, and then I just come in and get a couple thousand of them. But yeah, no, it is getting ridiculous out there for bags and boards.
It's been brutal in this area. I'm sitting on, I think, 4 packs of Silver Age bags. Can't find any Silver Age boards anywhere. I mean, I can buy them online, but I mean,
people are actually trying to flip bags and boards now. That's how ridiculous it's gotten. Yeah, if you look on like eBay or Amazon or whatever, you'll see people trying to like sell them at like 10 at a time or 20 at a time, pre-bagged and boarded for you at like $1 a pop. I'm like, what in the hell is actually happening?
That is brutal. I mean, people are trying to sell anything at this point. Like they just say hard to find, super rare. People go crazy over it. That's how it is with bags and boards now. Hard to find, crazy rare bags.
Silver Age boards, hard to find.
Yeah, Silver Age boards.
And the fire emoji like 5 times.
I mean, we're laughing, and that's sad to say, but damn well there's someone out there that will do it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, hell, even on Whatnot earlier, I've been looking for I don't know if you follow Pokemon at all. Like, I mean,
not now. I did, years ago.
But I'm kind of collecting it here and there, and the newest one is the celebration stuff to celebrate, the 25 years of Pokemon. I was like, all right, cool. I want one of those boxes.
Sure.
Well, I can't find those damn boxes anywhere. Like anywhere, and everyone's trying, scalp them. They're market price, I think $50. People are trying to sell them for like 80, 90, whatever.
Okay.
On Whatnot today started the bid for a box $120.
Wow.
And the whole time is, I know you've been in auctions where people are trying to be like, oh my God, no one's bidding. Like, come on. And it's like $120. It's $70 over market price. And you're telling people, I can't believe no one's bidding on this. Man, I can't believe you're charging this.
Dude, what you have just said, I mean, not just for Pokemon, but for comics and stuff, that cracks me up so much when a seller starts yelling at buyers about the price that stuff's going for. I could name a few. I won't. But for example, they'll like start it for $1, and like it's a maybe $2 or $3 book. Yeah, he's got the Aaron Rodgers hair going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Man. AR stands for Aaron Rodgers there. But they'll like it's okay. Let's just say it's a $5 book and it goes for $4, and then they'll be like, "This is a $15 book. You know what? You guys don't deserve for me to be putting these books up no more. I can't believe y'all aren't spending money." And I'm like, why not just say thank you for someone buying your book in this time of economic crisis in the first place, and then move on to the next book? Or if you're so upset why don't you just not start it for $1 if that's really gonna get you all your panties in a bunch? Start it for $5 or whatever.
And then if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. But if you put it for $1 and it sells for $1, you're gonna get mad about that. You put it there.
Exactly.
You did that.
It doesn't make sense to me, but there are so many people like that. It blows my mind.
Oh man, only because we're talking about it, man. On Whatnot, even there's sellers on there that I've seen a book will go for a couple bucks, even though they think it sells for a lot more. And they throw fits and they're like, all right, well, yeah, I'm not doing this today. And they just log off like, well, you just stopped the whole auction for a book that sold for a couple bucks.
Right. And then especially with Whatnot, once that sale ends, that's the buyer's shipping. So if they only bought one book, for example, maybe they're a little PO'd because they saw the listing, they bought that book, they planned on buying some other books. Well, now you just ended the stream, and so that shipping has to go. And like that's a great way to lose customers, in my opinion.
It sounds like I'm talking crap. I truly do like selling on that app, though. I like my afternoon.
I've seen a couple of your shows, man. That you put up some good stuff.
I try. I mean, I try my best. I start everything off at $1. It's been fun. Yeah. Let them dictate. I mean, if there's only 15 people in there, it sells for a couple bucks. I mean, that sucks. It is what it is sometimes. But if you start off at $15, $20, now that's your opinion. Like, oh, this is a $15 book. I can't believe no one just bid on this. Well, that's because it turns out no one else thinks it's a $15 book but you,
Right. Yeah. 100%.
So, yeah,
I know we got some. I know we got some comments in here. I'm sure they're just thriving on some stuff that we said.
I think I've seen that several times myself. I saw a guy start slamming things around. It makes no sense. It's so true. I think they even sent out an email that was like, there's no sale bashing. Like that's a new thing that you actually could get banned, I guess, where if you're yelling at people. Yeah. Will they enforce it? Who knows? But they're making definitely strides to fix some certain things for sellers acting certain ways, buyers calling other people out. I'd like to see people get banned for that. I think that'd be funny.
That would be quite amusing, but I don't know if they will enforce it because it's some of these big sellers that are doing it, and Whatnot is probably all about their, is it 8%, 9%, whatever it is, fee.
I don't know. It depends on I think who you are. Some people have
depends who you're which wheels you're greasing, if you know what I mean.
See, I see people complain about high percentages. I see other people complain that talk about that they don't really have high percentages, because after the first 30 days, I think it goes to regular. But I'm going to be honest. I don't know. Even my thing, it's like, for example, like my last sale, I think it was floating around 500. I think there's only like $20 in fees. Like that's not bad.
Yeah, no, that's not bad at all. Yeah.
eBay would have taken a hell of a lot more than that.
eBay, dude. I'll put stuff on eBay here and there. Like I just put up a couple slabs on my eBay that I've tried a couple times to move. Damn it, Phil. That I've tried to move on Instagram or even in person at a show, and like just no takers. So I'm just like, whatever. I even have like a couple of them in multiples. So I'm like, I just need room for slabs right now because I have slabs coming back. So I'll start stuff on eBay. I always start it for 99 cents, and then I have shipping, like plus shipping. But yeah, they fee you obviously for the final sale price. Then they charge you a fee for your shipping cost, which doesn't make any sense to me. I guess the only thing that would make sense is if you're trying to overcharge shipping to escape that fee. I don't know. And then they charge a fee on the sales tax, which you're definitely not collecting. So that part doesn't make sense to me at all. But it does have a wide base, and I guess is kind of looked at as the go-to for price establishment, unfortunately, for comic books. So if I have to do it, I'll do it, but I'd really rather not do it.
That's how I feel. I prefer not to. I used to sell on eBay all the time. That's actually how I started. Like I'm going to be going full time doing comics. Just put it all up on eBay, call it a day. And I started realizing, like, damn, they're taking a lot of money right now.
Yes. And until you hit a threshold, I don't know if they've changed it. It used to be like $7,000. Once you hit like $7,000 in sales, they knock your fee down to like 3% or something. They may have changed it. I'm not sure. But I mean, if you're doing that much, you've already paid a hefty amount to begin. You've already paid like $800, $900 to begin with. So yeah, they better knock that fee down.
So obviously, we're talking about fees, online sales. Now talking about the big thing. You are finally selling in cons. You get your booth set up. That is fantastic. That truly is awesome. And like, I'm proud of you because,
Thank you.
like I said, it wasn't even a whole year ago that you weren't even sure if you were going to be going full time in this. And not only in
Right.
that time span, you went full time and you're setting up at cons.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how's
It's
that been in comparison?
absolutely crazy. The first one that I set up at was Charlotte Comic Con, run by two gentlemen, Dave Hinson and Rick Fortenberry, and they are like legends in the Charlotte area for comic shows, conventions, anything comic books really. And I went to speak with Dave Hinson. It was like it was a whole thing because there's just like videos and stuff about it. But basically, like one of the other vendors had a problem with me. It was an issue. Dave was like, I don't want you in my show if there's going to be problems. But then he realized that the problem was just the other dude. So he let me come in, and I was so grateful. And it was so much fun. Like, it's just such an experience. Even as a new vendor, they'll always place you in like the part of the show that nobody else wants to go to. I was like, that's fine. Give me that spot. I'll make it happen. And I try to stick with the around $100 table fee. So I had to build a wall. So I went to Lowe's, got all my stuff, all the materials, was about $100 to do it. And yeah, I mean, it's just so much fun. The being stationary and then having your like your logo and your name on the front of your booth and everything like that, it really helps you like meet a lot more people because so many people were coming up and be like, wait, Comics for Cheap? I follow you on Instagram. Like they didn't make the connection at until right then. But if I was just kind of walking around the show, they wouldn't have made that connection at all. So that's been like probably my favorite part is being able to sell to people who already followed me or already have bought from me on Instagram and just being able to cut them an even better deal in person has been phenomenal. I love it so much.
That's awesome. I mean, sure, like you said, it makes it feel real. It's like you're looking at your product now, you got your name on it, people are
Hmm.
showing up. And then on top of that, it's dude, I already know you. I bought stuff
Yeah,
from you. I would
right,
have never known.
right.
So that's just so cool to see that happen.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just so fun. Like and then being like being put into the same status with some of these other vendors who have been doing it for years. I was 100% the youngest comic seller at both the shows that I set up at, and just being able to be in that same class with these dudes who have been doing it for 20 years. I mean, it is just it's awesome.
Now, what's it like as a seller setting up there? Do they kind of look at you like, all right, we got a new guy? Or like, do they kind of give you a look to an extent like, well, you better not be taking our sales. We've been set here for X time now. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. I think that they are happier to have someone with an internet presence bringing advertisement to the show. That's what I
Cool.
know. That's what Dave and Rick told me before that they were happy just the fact that I posted on Instagram and Facebook or wherever, whatever, just kind of helping them support or like advertise for their show. I mean, that's what most of the vendors will do anyway, but just like to have someone with a lot, I hate to say influence, but like more followers, I guess, to be able to like blast that out. So I think that's the way that they look at it now, just like your regular seller or non-show promoter or non-show thrower.
Mhm.
I wouldn't think that they would consider me any kind of like anything just because I am new and I usually spend some time buying from people anyway while I'm set up at a show. Like I'll let Alexis run the booth for an hour and I'll go do, my own shopping. So I wouldn't think they would be mad at the fact that I've got cash in my hand to spend on books from them. And then I think it's common courtesy. I know some people do it, but I think it's common courtesy to not sell books that I just bought at the show. So I'll keep those in a box and tuck them for later.
Mhm.
You'll never see me go buy something off someone's wall, put a different price tag on it, and put it up on my wall because I feel like that's disrespectful and just churlish to do that. So
I was gonna say I actually never thought of things that way. Like someone would leave their
people do
booth,
it
buy one.
100%.
I
It
was like,
happened to
that's
me.
disrespectful.
Someone came up, bought my book. I saw it on their walls. Like it's cool, but like it's silly at the same time. I think.
I would get pretty mad about that.
Yeah.
So everyone in chat, me right now, walk us through what it's like to, prepare, set it up. even like talk to them, like what is that process of, I want to set up a booth at a Comic Con, and then kind of start to finish. What was it like for you?
So the first one was more time consuming, more difficult. I had to build the dollar boxes, and I alphabetized, not like perfectly or anything because I knew it was going to be messed up already. But I did alphabetize and everything like that. So the first, like getting ready and prepping for that first one was like, it was nerve wracking, man, because I mean it was the first show. But after that, like the second one, I already had the boxes. I just had to like incorporate more into it. But however you do it, I usually just get one table or so far. So I do just my 8 to 10 long boxes of dollar books, and then my wall books behind me with some backups for the stuff that sells. So um, it's definitely take the time, like take a week beforehand to make sure everything's good. You want everything as presentable as possible. Try not to bring your ratty, rundown, gross long boxes. Try to get some fresher looking ones to display, because I mean it is like your name and your presentation. The way that your booth looks will have someone either kind of like walk past you and not give you a second like of their time, or see you from across the room and be like, oh, let me check out this guy. So you got to remember everyone around you is competition basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and then just I do all my wall books in the comic clear boards. That's just one of the like little extra things that I personally do. That way they can observe the front and the back for any kind of defects, so they know exactly what both sides look for. I always check my wall books for like detached centerfold, count pages, everything like that, staples. So I'm able to notate it on the little sticky notes that I put on there. I also advise people to not use those annoying freaking price gun stickers that you have to like sit
Yo,
there
I
and
hate
pick
those.
at. Oh, they're the worst.
I
So
hate those.
I buy sticky notes in bulk on Amazon, and that's what I just use. I just use little sticky notes, and you can just put it on there, and then guess what? They
Yep.
can come right off when you buy the book, so you don't have to worry about it.
That's what I
But yeah,
use.
that's just one of my pet peeves personally. But yeah, I mean, there's not really too much else. Try to stay within your budget as far as your booth fee. If you are doing like a bigger booth, like you're getting multiple tables or whatever, again, try to make sure that you're organized as far as like, here's my dollar books, here's my $5 books, $10 bin or whatever, to make sure that everyone kind of flows in a natural progression. And I always advise to alphabetize. I've
That's a good
like,
call.
yeah, like people love that. They'll come if they're looking for like a specific thing or a specific title. Oh, why don't you check the T's or whatever the B's here for Batman or whatever they're looking for? Because if they got to sit there and everything's just everywhere, that most people are not like me. They're not going to dig through every single box. They're going to look for what they want to look for and then move on.
Yep. I totally agree with, making your table, everything just presentable. Because even one of my last experiences at a Comic Con, it was in Oklahoma. So, it's a little bit smaller. But someone just, had a couple tables. There's no sign. There was nothing. A bunch of long boxes. But they didn't even have like the dividers in between. It was pieces of paper, and on it was written in pen, not even a Sharpie. And I was like, I feel I'm not trying to disrespect you, but I'm not going to look through your stuff. I don't want to
Right.
mess it up like with your little piece of paper. But are you just a random guy right now? Do you have a name? It was just
Right.
nothing but long boxes.
And as a as a buyer, I like boots like that, especially if it's an old dude. That's where I'll go ham. If it's like $1 bin or $3 bin or something with like that kind of thing, I'll usually find some gems in there. But as your typical buyer is probably not going to spend the time to deal with that mess. Just like kind of like what you said, and I wouldn't even consider you a typical buyer. You're doing this for a business, and even you said, like you said, you're gonna pass that person by. So it's definitely something to think about. Just your name. I have on the front of every single box my logo, my name, where they can look me up on Instagram. What the prices are right on the front. It's like nice and big and clear. And I think that helps a lot. I need to get like a big sign for on top of my wall, but I
That'd be
have not
awesome.
quite done that yet.
Just like
They're
a big banner.
yeah, something or a tablecloth or something like that. Yeah. Tablecloths are expensive though. I
Are
had
they?
no idea. They're like $200 to get a personalized tablecloth. So I was like, not right now. I'll do it
Yo, I
next year.
figured that would be cheap.
Right? All you doing is pressing on a thing to a tablecloth. So I was like, $200? Come on, son.
Dude, everything's expensive though.
I know. I'm gonna get a
Everything.
white sheet and draw my name on it.
Yeah, man. Pay someone.
Exactly.
But you set up, a couple Comic Cons in your area, South Carolina, correct?
North Carolina, but yes,
North
I'm like
Carolina.
right on the line.
So, because you've done a couple of those, are you aiming for something bigger? Like, I'm not going to put it on a C2E2 scale. I know that's coming up, I think, early mid December. But
Yes.
is that kind of your next route? Something that big? Or are you going to stick with some smaller ones for a while?
I'll probably stick with smaller ones. Now, my goal for next year is to do at least one a month, like
Cool.
going to go forward. So I want to do a live show a month setting up. The big shows are a lot of fun to attend. They're very expensive to set up at. For example, this one that I went to just this last weekend was called Charlotte Giant Size Mini Con, but basically it was Heroes Con, which is one of the biggest shows in the Southeast besides MegaCon. And so booth fees, they kept the booth fees pretty much the same, even though it was in a smaller venue with a smaller attendance and everything like that. And it was like something like someone was saying it was like $700 for their 2-table booth, like the whatever it was booth. I was like, $700 is
It's kind of
a
a lot.
hefty sum when you're moving comic books. I mean, you just got it, like that's giving away a grail basically to just to be able to set up. So for some people that works out well. For example, like one dude there, like within an first hour, he made 11 grand. So like for some
Ooh.
people, it's like, yeah, that's nothing to them. But like for me, when I'm bringing 10 long boxes of just dollar stuff and then the keys on the wall, like that's too much money for me to even begin
To justify.
to justify setting up there. So for those, I'll just continue probably going as a fan or a buyer or just to go and hang out rather than trying to set up.
Dude, the time's coming though. I mean, you're killing it.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time. My shop back home. Oh, you can go.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say my shop back home in Pennsylvania. They set up at New York Comic Con this last year. It's $4,000 for their booth.
They must have had a giant booth.
I'm sure they had a pretty big one. They sell a lot. They move a lot of product. They do pop, comic books, Pokemon cards, sports cards. They truly do have everything.
So so as a shop, I mean, you said it was a shop, right?
Yes.
Okay. I know they can write that. I mean, obviously they're going to write that off as a cost of business. And then like you said, if they have a whole multitude of things, like they're doing toys, pops, figures, artwork and comic books and this and that, I guess that would make a little bit more sense. That could help justify, because you're bringing everybody to your booth. Then you're not just bringing the comic dudes and the comic flippers or whatever. You're also bringing people who love the action figures and the pops and the artwork and everything like that. So I'm sure that they could clear some cash doing that. But again, for someone like me who's just bringing dollar bins and a wall behind me, that I just can't do it.
Eventually, though, man.
You
can do it.
We'll see.
We do got one question for you, though.
Sure.
Well, I guess maybe potentially both of us. But how do you price up everything when you guys sort through bins at cons or stores?
How do we? So, you just have to have doing it for long enough, right? We have prices in our head of what we can sell it for, right? So if we come across it, or if we find someone who's willing to do like a bundle deal, usually that happens at a show. Like you're buying a whole bunch of stuff, they're probably going to knock 20 to 30% off before you even say something. They'll probably make that offer. So that's kind of how I'm able to like sit and price stuff. But again, you just have to kind of have that number in your head that you're going for, and know what stuff is selling for at the time as well. Maybe you can catch them on a book that just popped, and be able to snag it for a little bit cheaper, and that kind of thing. I don't know if you find the same experience when you're at the stores and stuff.
Yeah, I kind of do. And that actually kind of segues into the next comment. The saying, the dealers I hate at shows are the ones that have no prices. And then when you ask him about it, he pulls out an Overstreet and wants full price.
And Overstreet.
That between that eBay and Key Collector, if I see any shop that has no price and all of a sudden it's, yeah, let me pull it up online quick. No, actually, you can just keep it. It's I don't care. Even if it's under what the Key Collector or eBay says, the fact that you don't have anything priced and that's how you're going to do the business, no, I'm not spending any money with you.
There was a dude set up behind me at the Charlotte show, and that was his method. It was just let me look it up on eBay. Well, any book, dude. I heard that so many times that day. Like at one point, I looked at Alexis and I was like, I need to walk away for a second. If I hear this old man say I need to look it up on eBay one more time, I'm gonna like knock his fucking wall down or something, because that shit was just driving me crazy. And I'm just, I can't stand it. But I'm like you, I'm with you. If I go to a shop and I see the sign or I just see no prices, I'm like, this is not going to work out for me. I can't.
No,
I can't do
it's
it.
not worth my time. What am I going to do? Dig through all these bins and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I got to look up these 40, 50 books super quick. Oh, no.
No, yeah,
You
I'm
can
good.
go put them back actually.
Right, I don't want to waste my time doing that.
Oh my god. It's so unbearable at this point. I actually wanted to bring this up with you and ask you about it because I know a lot of people look at Key Collector as, the Bible, holy grail, gold standard for comic books, If it says it's a first appearance, it's a first appearance. Now,
Mhm.
I truly do think that it's a good app. I think it's very useful for a lot of new people. I think there's a lot of very valuable information in there, but I think people really need
This
to
show is
understand.
sponsored by Key Collector Content.
No, and on that note, we're ending the broadcast. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to episode 15. James will not be coming back on. No, but what I was going to say with, I think it does have a lot of good info, but people need to realize that you can't look at that and say, well, Key Collector says it's worth this. Well, no, Key Collector has a suggestion saying that it could, this is what we're seeing it for. But at the same time, they're seeing it for that because they're kind of, maybe talking about it. And I don't know, it's tough as a new collector. I'm going to be honest. When I first started really getting into comics, I use that not only for info on, oh, wow, that's a first appearance, or wow, I didn't know that this book had this. But then I also saw it as, well, damn, that's how much that book is worth, or that's how much it is. And people need to learn that just because it's spec or just because it's telling you this, that might not mean anything. There's a book that could be like, oh, this dog was introduced in this issue. That who cares, What's that dog do,
That's funny because I'm actually after the Hawkeye book about the dog, the silent issue from the dog's perspective. But
That's a great issue, though.
oh,
That
it's so
really is.
good. I love that book. Yes, I'm with you. I love Key Collector as a quick reference app. I'm not on board with some of the alerts or anything like that. I mean, some of them are cool to kind of know what's moving and shaking, or if it notifies you that a trailer just dropped or something, like, oh, okay, cool. But it is definitely not the end all be all. It's not the god. I've met Nick before. I've had a conversation with him. He's a cool dude. He's trying his best. You know what I mean? Like, he
Yeah.
understands and knows the hate that comes at him for this app. But he, at the end of the day, and I'm gonna sit here and be like, oh, this dude's like a friend of Nick or whatever. Like, no, we're not friends. I met him once at a show,
Yeah, he's
but
best
like I
friends,
could
actually.
tell, yeah, he's actually he's actually right here in the other room. That he, at the end of the day, is a fan of comic books. Like, he did this and started this as a fan, and continues to be a fan. But it's the people that take it too seriously, I think, that that's what's messing it up. It's not, you know, I don't know. I use it and I don't use it at the same time. You know what I
I know
mean?
exactly what you're talking. I'm sure there's a lot of people watching right now that actually, man, I know the same feeling. I use it and I don't
Yes.
use it.
My favorite part about it is that you can search it by character. So if, like, for example, I'm like, oh man, High Evolutionary is rumored heavily right now. This is just because this is actually recent and relevant. The High Evolutionary is rumored right now for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Like, okay, everyone knows Thor 134 is his first appearance of Guardians of the Galaxy. or not Guardians of the Galaxy, the High Evolutionary, but like what are some other books that may be important with this character? You can just like search for the character and then like maybe find a book or two that are sleepers that involve this character that you didn't know about. Even as a reader of comics, you can't possibly know and remember every event that happened
No,
in every single book. So it's just kind of like I'll use it that way and be like, oh, cool. Here's a book or two that if I see it while digging through a bin, now I can remember, that this one might be one to look out for.
I agree. That's kind of how I do it. I mean, it's a little bit different on my side because I don't. I mean, I guess I do it. I guess I do. Like I've used Key Collector, but kind of for that reference, or I see an issue, and it's a cover that I recognize, and it's like, oh, well, what's the relevance of this? Like, why do I recognize this right now? Because, like you said, there's too much stuff out there. There's way too much for you to remember every issue, every character that was in every single issue. So that's why I say it's a very good resource. It's very helpful, but people need to understand that it's not everything that comes out of there isn't real. There's a lot of speculation that pops up. There's a lot of, even for the movie speculation stuff where it's like it's rumored or we have sources. Well, until it's confirmed, you need
Right.
to understand that it might not be real.
Yeah.
But there's people who don't know that. They
Right.
might see that as real.
Right.
So
And
it's
yeah,
a tough spot.
just like you said, for as many speculations that I've had that have panned out well, I've had just as many that I've made by myself that have not panned out at all, and are still. That's why I have like probably 12 short boxes of my like hold books, basically.
Damn.
And those are just like books that haven't panned out yet. You know what I mean? So there are plenty of books that haven't panned that I'm like still holding out hope for, and every now and then I'll give up and sell one, and the next week it'll pop inevitably. And then some that I buy and a couple weeks later I'm like, oh, I was correct, and then I'm able to make my money on that book, just trying to stay ahead of the game.
Facts. And I think that's the key takeaway from it too, is like, you have books that have panned out, you have books that haven't panned out, but a lot of times people jump on it when they get that notification, like, oh man, like I don't want to miss out on this book. But now you're paying, top dollar for it, when in reality, like you said, it might not pan out.
Right. Yeah.
That could
100%.
happen.
Yeah. And it's funny because the last time I was on Phil, I don't know if he's still in the chat, but One True Nerd King, we did a little sit down on Instagram, and he was like, what's one speculation that hasn't panned out for you? And I was like, Thunderbolts, because I bought it at a dip when people were kind of forgetting about it, and then it just stayed dip. Like it did not move at all. And then a week later, Thunderbolts moved again. And it's just funny how stuff like that you'll be like, you'll almost be ready to give up on a speculation you made like a year ago, and then the next week it's like the thing that everyone has to get.
I mean, I'll never forget it. I still remember, at this point, I guess it's probably 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, everyone that was doing Instagram auctions, and they're selling Ultimate Fallout 4, $80, $100. And I'm thinking, $100, $150 for a first appearance of Miles? I can't spend that money. Well, goddamn, look how that one panned out.
I know.
I was mind blown.
Dude, Justin had 15 polybagged copies of UF4 and sold them when they hit, I think he said when they hit 60. And he was like, man, I did good. I bought them all at like $10 a pop. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty. You made $50 on 15 copies. That's dope. And then, they hit $1,000, and it's like, oh, that's probably like everyone who bought into Bitcoin back in the day. And as soon as it hit $1, they're like, we're rich. And now it's at like, whatever, 50 grand.
A lot of money.
And they're like,
Yeah, that one I remember. Was it Young Avengers 1? That one was selling for $40, and I was like,
dude, Young Avengers blew
whatever
up, man.
I know.
Like almost like it's a 12-issue series, so almost every single one of the issues has just taken massive gains. And I was so lucky. I got one from my dude Gazer, and just by pure coincidence, I was happening to look for one. He had a 9.6 for $75. I was like, oh, dope. And then the next weekend, that book just fucking exploded. And then all of a sudden, the 9.6 is worth 500. I was like, dude, I'll pay you a little more. I feel bad. And he's like, nope, we had a deal. Like, he honored the deal. He was a good dude about it. and sent it out and everything. But it's just those times that it's like, oh my gosh, like
I know.
I can't imagine just like selling a book and the next week. Well, I mean, I can't imagine. I've done it so many times, but like selling a book and then the next week it is the hot book.
It's one of those things. I was even talking to my dad about it. He had, I think, 2, maybe even 3 polybagged Ultimate Fallout 4s, and he was like, "Yeah, I just sold them to the shop." I mean, well, no, to an extent. The shop, it's the same one I've been talking about before we went live. It's the one that I'm going to be working for and doing stuff with.
Okay.
They really are legit, and you can't. So the way they do things is whatever the book is selling for, like it's worth, they give you half. They're like, because you got to understand, we need to make a profit. We could be sitting on this for a little while.
Sure.
So we give you half of what it's worth. And, if you think it's fair, you think it's fair. And my dad was like, well, I got, at the time, it was $250, I think, for both books. And I was like, Dad, you know what it's selling for? He's like, dude, I spent $4. It's
right.
Like, well,
yes. So
you're not wrong. You're
right.
not wrong.
When it comes to that, you always do have to think, like, I sold this to get me here. All right. So, even as if someone who's not a comic seller, I spent $4 and I made, which is like $250. Right. So like, that's incredible. That's a great jump right there. And as a comic seller, I always actually have to remind other vendors sometimes where it's like, where they complain about seller's regret. I'm like, bro, that sale got you to this point. Like, it could have bought you another book that has, went up in value. So you can't look back. You can really only look forward with that type of thing. But even though sometimes it does sting, people who sold whatever FF48 before comics became like the king, or AF15 before the record sales of $1 million. Old vendors will always love to brag about that. Oh, I've sold 5 AF15s before being, and it's like, okay, cool. But, that helped establish you in the game. That helped get you to this point where you and me are talking right now. So you can't really look back at it. You got to look forward to the next deal.
Right? Yeah, I sold 5. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, could have had 5 million, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Are you proud of that? I mean, you missed the boat a little bit, bud. But like I said, if you made a nice profit, if it puts you somewhere else, that's all that matters. That's how you should look as a seller. You can't look at you missed out. It's you bought it for maybe $10. Like even Justin, I sold it for 50 or 60. You made a profit and you were able to use that to maybe go towards a grail. Maybe you were able to buy something else that's going to help your business a little bit more.
Exactly.
And that's how you need to look at things. It's not all negative. Say you missed out on $20, $30. In reality, is that $20, $30 like that big of a deal to you?
Right. No, yeah, 100% what you're saying. Sometimes like what it is with people. They're like, oh, I sold this for 20 and now it's 40. It's like, okay, but what did you buy it for in the first place? Like, you missed out on $20, but I bet you made $20 at the same time. So it like sometimes it is silly to complain about it, but other times was like I sold it for 100 and now it's selling for 1,000. Like, at that point, yeah, that does kind of suck. But
that one hurts.
You gotta look for the next one, man. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Because I remember, I think a little bit earlier when like the Thor ones with Jane Foster were really taking off. I remember you were pretty hot on Instagram with that one. Like, yeah, I got all these copies, and I know damn well you took full advantage of that one.
That Jane Foster, I think I have a couple left. I did sell a few, but I do have a couple left. And that was when they were, God, I was buying them for what, like $20 to $30. And then when it hit 100, I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. And so now it's come back down. I've bought a few more and I'm just kind of waiting on that one. But in that time, I've bought the first appearance, like the first actual appearance of Jane Foster. And for me personally, because I love Silver Age a lot more than I love Modern, for me, that was worth it. That was worth not, holding on to Jason Aaron's Thor 1 for like more years. I would rather have Journey into Mystery 84 instead. Like that just,
and that one's cooler too.
Bigger piece of history for me. So that helped me get that. So for example, another example with Miles Morales, since we were just talking about him, I did sell at that jump, the first jump, I guess, when it was like people couldn't believe like the game was just announced and that huge jump. So I sold my slab and my 2 second prints that were signed by Crane, and I bought first appearance of Craven, which for me I thought was
Cool.
yeah, it was awesome. Like it's low ASM. It's a big book. I bought a 5.5 for like $600 or something like that. And now that book is like $2,000-$3,000. So again,
Yep.
like that's another one that I'm like, I can't look back and be mad about not hanging on to Miles for another year or two, waiting for that second jump that has come around, because Craven is now even more expensive than that uh, as well. So it's just it's give and take with those to what you want to collect, what you want to put into your own personal collection and hang on to, what really means a lot to you.
That's definitely where I'm at. I'm still trying to, even figure things out, coming up as kind of selling a lot more books. I love my hardcovers. I'm a big fan of them. But as of
I
late,
see them
man,
behind you.
remarks. Oh man, I think I
Okay.
really want to start to get a nice collection of just like some blank sketch covers, get them remarked, get them slabbed up. I think that's kind of the direction I'm starting to lean in, because I'm seeing them more and more pop up, and it's like, damn, those are nice. And I already buy a blank sketch every time I see one. I've
Okay,
got a
so
collection.
which artists would you be interested in as far as like remarks and stuff?
Man, I don't really have anyone super in particular. I know
Okay.
this is just what I can think of off the top of my head. So I've been doing it's on the experience. It's with Dynamite, the Dynamic Forces guys. They always have Ken Hazer artwork. They always have blank sketch covers with Ken Hazer work.
Okay.
And his covers just, they look so good on a blank sketch. I don't want I feel like the word simple could kind of be disrespectful, but it's just like, I mean, it's like simple but so nice. It's
Like
got nice
you mean
detail.
like minimalistic kind of?
Yeah, it looks like he could bang it out super quickly, but at the same time, there's so much still detail there. The colors are nice, and it's
Hmm.
like, man, I mean, I follow him on Instagram now. I want to hit him up and be like, hey, I've got like a stack of books, and I just want to send them to you, man. Like, what's up?
Right. No, that's awesome. I have a couple of ones that were done by like not known artists at all. Even
Yeah,
one
that
of the
too.
Jane Foster Thor, the sketch variant. We actually took that to a convention a couple years back, and this artist who was like really really good at just animal stuff, like they drew all sorts of, and so we had Jane Foster drawn as an eagle holding or flying up
Yo, I
with
remember
Mjolnir.
that.
Yeah, man, and I
I
still
was in
have
that
that one
auction.
to this day because it
That's
didn't sell
awesome.
when Justin sold it on the, or was trying to put it up on the auction. I was like, bro, I'll just pay for it, like I want it for me. And I still have, it's like still one of my display books because I thought it was so cool. Another couple that I have are from Doyle comic art, and I just have a couple of the ones that since then, like he has sold. For example, I have the one with the Green Goblin for
Oh,
his
I
Amazing
love that one
Spider-Man,
too.
and like that's what he uses for his banner now when he sets up at shows. And I'm like,
Yep.
I have the original, so I'm like, that's another one that I'm just keeping in a box for me for 20 years down the line when Doyle blows up, because I know it's gonna happen. He's starting to do like covers now, which is
Yeah,
so
he's
cool.
killing it.
Yeah, he's killing it. So
He's
it's
really
like,
growing.
all right, cool. So I have like one of his first freaking like big books or big art pieces that he's done on a book, and just like stuff like that makes me happy. So I like the little unknown artists on the come up.
I've got something definitely for Doyle. Now you mentioned, I got something for Illest Illuminati,
Oh,
because
he's another one
he's
that's
been on
so
fire.
good. He's on fire, dude. He's so good. Him and Roscoe, art by Roscoe. He does like
I don't know if I
amazing
follow
work.
him.
Oh my gosh, I've been telling him that he needs to get like verified or whatever the process is for CGC to start sending stuff to get slabbed up. But like, just I love the up and coming artists like that. I love it.
It's really cool to see, especially when you talk to them, not when they're starting out, but you see they have a really small Instagram. They're just posting pictures of their art, and then all of a sudden it's like Doyle, for example, boom, I'm gonna be at this show. Catch me at this show. And it's like, not only are
Yeah,
you there, but you've got this big booth. And it's like,
yeah,
yo, dude, that's so cool for you, man.
right.
I'm really
Yeah,
excited for you.
Doyle has definitely stepped up this year, for sure. Another one that is local to me, this guy named Joe Lisi. I have his artwork like on my walls and stuff. But the first time I saw him or we met him, Alexis and I were just kind of like walking around a show. He had one table with like a sketchbook and like a couple of little things behind him. And like you would flip through the book to pick out whatever it was. He would get the print out of his bin and sign it and give it to you. Now He has a minimum of 3 tables with this huge wall set up behind him, with like huge canvas art and everything like
That's
that.
dope.
We both quit our jobs at like the same time. We kind of like inspired each other to really go after it. And now like I talk to him at almost every show that I'm at. I'm like, dude, you're killing the game. And he's like, yeah, man, like I'm so glad that we both took the chance. And now I'm like traveling the country doing this. And it's just like it's incredible to see someone go from like a table to like a huge presence at well known and established Comic Cons.
Dude, you love to see it. You love to see the people who deserve it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's awesome to see the people that just said, you know, screw it. I'm going to take the chance.
Mm-hmm.
If I fail, I fail. But at least now you know deep down that you at least tried.
Right,
And I mean,
exactly.
so far, everyone that's doing it, they seem to be succeeding. You know, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if Doyle had a job, he quit, but I mean, his artwork's obviously doing super well. Like we were talking about, Illest, I mean, not only is he coming up, but the dude's doing all these covers now, all these
Yeah.
variant covers.
Right.
And your dude from home, like it's awesome.
Yes, for sure. 100%.
So we are coming up on the 55-minute mark, you know, almost about to hit that hour. I try to keep these, you know, around an hour. So if anyone in this chat right now has any sort of questions for Comics for Cheap, you know, he's a seller. He's got a lot of experience selling, buying. He's been setting up at cons. Anything that you could think of, I'm sure, you know, he not only can answer it, but go into pretty solid detail with it. But I mean, we talked about a lot of solid stuff tonight. We didn't even hit on the other things I wanted to talk about.
What else were you thinking? Let's do some rapid fire.
Oh man, you know, the movies, TV shows, I'm not caught up in What If. I've seen most of them, but I just saw the Eternals.
Eternals was dope.
You liked
Like,
it?
dude, like Eternals for me. So I feel like for the casual fan, it's gonna be a little more difficult now that Marvel is expanding into this galactic thing that it has become.
Well, hold on.
Uh,
Have you read the Eternals like at all? Are you very
yes.
knowledgeable on the Eternals?
No, I wouldn't say that I'm very knowledgeable on the Eternals, but yes, I have read most of the first series and like bits and pieces of the following series, the second volume.
Okay.
So like I admit it's a very boring comic book. Like it's almost like a history book when you sit down and read it. But I think they did the best that they could with the source material as far as the movie goes. A lot of people carpet bombed and review bombed the movie because of Fastos and his relationship, and also the sex scene that was in the movie. But I could sit here and defend both of those scenes tooth and nail. Like I'll fight for that. So that's just ridiculous to hate on a movie for. And yeah, I mean, like I felt like it was a great building movie. We all forget like Captain America, like the first Captain America movie was freaking slow. It was a slow movie,
I
and it
mean,
was a great
that's what it is.
timepiece, and it was a great historical thing. And that's just, I think that's what this Eternals movie was. It was very slow timepiece, world building type thing. I think it did a great job for building entities that are more than likely going to show up in the Marvel universe,
Oh yeah.
such as Galactus. So without Eternal, like you can't be DC and just throw a movie like way ahead of time without explaining some backstory and some build up to it. So I feel like that's what it was. It was in no way worse than Dark World. So I don't know like what people are thinking about that. But
Hey, you know
Thor
what?
2 is still the worst MCU movie.
I'll tell you what. My girlfriend doesn't know anything about Marvel. She really likes that Thor 2 movie. You know,
God damn
she
it.
loves those Thor movies.
You know, I was talking to a vendor this weekend and he said his all-time least favorite MCU movie was Iron Man 3. And I was like, I cannot agree with you there.
No, it's definitely not the worst.
Mm-mm.
I mean, if we're strictly talking MCU,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the Eternals was definitely boring.
It was
I
slow.
I wasn't a huge fan of it, but visually, absolutely gorgeous. The fight scenes were incredible. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what really brought me in. But so you know, that's you're talking about Captain America 1. You really got to understand that what they're building at, what they're creating. They brought in all these first appearance characters that have never been on screen before. They're bringing in
And
all the world, like yeah, the worldly stuff.
yep.
They've never done
Yeah.
that in any other movie.
No, not to this level. And you're talking about characters that nobody knows, almost on a level of Guardians of the Galaxy. That like even at that point when Guardians came out, I was like, I could guess it was Guardians from like the start of a trailer. But I was like, I don't know much about all these characters
I didn't either.
they're putting out. So this is going to be very similar. It's not names that are household names. It's not Captain America and Spider-Man and you know, ones like that. But I still stand by. I thought it was a decent movie. I would give it a solid 6.5, 7 out of 10. I would
That's
not
a good call.
get it underneath a 5 out of 10 though.
I think I actually put it at 6.5.
Yeah.
But I think this is probably it. I actually really didn't like Captain Marvel at all.
Yeah, I kind of lost interest in Captain Marvel, to be honest.
It was pretty brutal. And I mean, the movie itself wasn't that great, but oh my God, Brie Larson did not do it justice.
Yeah.
That's
Brie Larson, which is interesting because Brie Larson is a phenomenal actress. So for her to, I don't know, there was a lot of factors I think that went into Captain Marvel failing, but I don't want to sit here and sound like a jerk by saying that she did it herself. You know what I mean? So
I agree with you. I think it was kind of, it just wasn't a good movie.
Yeah.
But if there are no questions, we're going to end it on that note, as Captain Marvel being the worst MCU movie in our comics opinion. I don't know about, Comix4Cheap out there, but
I still hold with either Thor 2 or
Thor 2.
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron wasn't bad.
Are my two least favorite when it comes to, like, if I were to bring up like Disney Plus and be like, which movie do I want to watch from the MCU? Those two would be the bottom of my list.
I can agree with that. We actually do got one more. We're gonna cap it off on this one, at least on a positive note. It's Comix4Cheap. What is the favorite part of your business as you continue to grow?
Shitting on Captain Marvel movie. Not just kidding.
Perfect.
You're like, it ended on a positive note. I'm like, no. My favorite part of the business as I continue to grow is honestly just continuing to meet more and more people, whether it be, like I was saying, an artist that started with a table and is now like this empire kind of booth, or just, meeting whoever comes to my own booth and then being like, oh, I recognize you off Instagram, or oh, I'm now going to follow you on Instagram or something like that. But that has to be my favorite, is just meeting people. I just spoke about the toilets. What?
No, he had a comment, or I think it was this one. Yeah, notice some of the books one can buy at Comic-Con smell like poo. If you're going to read in the bathroom, at least have the ventilation fan going.
That's just it's moisture damage is what that is, dude. So if you open a book and you smell that like musty, gross, that just means they kept them in the basement or an attic or something like that, where it was not temperature regulated, and that's why it smells like that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, chat. Thank you, James. Comix4Cheap.
Appreciate you.
I know you're a busy man. I really do appreciate the time, you're taking out of your day to come on, sit here for an hour talking bullshit about some comics.
Absolutely.
Awesome conversation as always. Remember, chat, last year around this, maybe not around this time, a little bit less than a year, he was nervous to quit his job and do this full time. Within that year, he quit, followed what he wanted to actually do, and now he's doing it full time. I cannot wait to see. You're gonna be on again within the year, but I can't wait to see what you do now within this next year. And just remember this, he's going to be a lot bigger. This time he's talking about how I'm setting up at some smaller cons. I got a table. I got 2 tables here. No, next time it's going to be a huge con. I got a whole section of stuff.
I hope so. I hope so.
You got it. It's going to be an awesome ride for you. I'm really excited to see it. But thank you again, everybody. Stay tuned for the next episode. I'm going to be on tomorrow night with Rex Wang from Dynamite Dynamic Forces.
And hit that like button.
Thank you. And all of his stuff is down low in the description. So on that note, thank you again, everybody. Thank you, Comix4Cheap, and have a good night.